What is up, Tan and J Man Show Nation? It's January 8th, 2024, episode 373 of the Tan and J Man Show is live on the ISC Sports Network, on the ISC Sports Network YouTube channel and their X channel, and the Tan and J Man Show Facebook page and X channel. And if you're listening wherever you listen to your podcast at, please hit that follow button if you haven't already and give us that 5-star rating and review. We'd really appreciate it. With all that mumbo jumbo said, J-Man, how are you tonight? What's going on?
I'm doing all right. It's freezing here. We're about to get a snowstorm overnight tonight after getting our first couple inches of snow of the year on Saturday. So not looking forward to that, but can't complain.
Yeah, it looks like we might be getting some snow too, a couple inches. Just heard on the news, it's been 300 days since Fort Wayne has got a total of an inch during a single day.
Wow, that's crazy.
So pretty due for it, I would say.
300 days, man, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time.
Mm-hmm. Long time. Not as many episodes as we've been pumping out, as this is episode 373.
Pretty close, though.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
But, I have some birdie bogey here for you. Jordan Love finished with 4,159 passing yards and 32 passing touchdowns. There are only two quarterbacks in NFL history to exceed both of those totals in their first season as a full-time starter. Can you name those two quarterbacks?
No, I cannot, but I'll give my best effort.
Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House has upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. They are back open to their regular business hours now that the holidays are over. So $2 whole smoked wings and $1 off domestic brewskis every Monday night. Go in there and ask them to turn on the Tan and J-Man show.
Yeah, I'm sure they had some good business today, tonight and today. I know the city of Rochester was itching for them to get open again after a nice little break for their employees for the holidays. So, yeah, if you're there, hopefully you're watching the show. I don't know if they have it on TV, but if not, go there next Monday and tell them we told you to put it on. So,
yes, sir.
College football national championship game tonight, J-Man. It says 7:30 on TV, but I think the kickoff's actually going to be around 7:45.
I hate that. I hate it.
At least they moved it up an hour completely this year, if not like almost 2. I mean, remember when he used to like not get over till after midnight, basically?
Yeah, it's been a good 8 or 9 years since I've seen the end of a college football national championship game. Now that I have a newborn, it might be a better chance for me to actually watch the end of it because she'll be up. But, I'm glad they moved it up. Of course, being in Central Time helps for sure. But still, the games are 4.5 hours long. It's way too long. They need to do something about that in college football.
I am more excited about the rumored NCAA football 2025 video game commercial than anything else.
Yeah. Have they said when it's going to air, or is it just going to be sometime during the game?
I have not seen that, so I guess they're going to keep us on their toes. Who do you think is deserving to be on the cover of that video game?
Man,
because you can really go two directions. You can go present player or past player, really, now.
I assume it's going to be a past player.
I know what I would do if I had control.
Man, I have no idea. I don't even have
I would put a collaboration of every Heisman Trophy winner since the last game came out.
Let's go.
That's what I'd do.
That's
but
good.
They probably won't. They should just put it up to a fan voting, really.
Yeah. Well, we saw how that happened in the NFL, and Peyton Hillis won that year, so.
Which is still awesome, though. worst cover athlete probably of all time, or one of them.
Of any video game.
I don't know. Jared Zabrowski that 1 year for Boise State. That was a pretty weak NCAA football cover.
Yeah, he was a pretty big name though back when Boise State was good. And
Peyton Hillis was a Pro Bowler at the time.
He was a Pro Bowler. I'll give him that. Yeah, he was a one hit wonder.
Yes, he was. But who do you like in tonight's game? I know Michigan's a 4.5 point favorite.
It's part of my bold predictions actually, so I'll spoil one of my bold predictions. I think Washington upsets them. I really do think Washington upsets them. Michael Penix playing at a very high level. He hasn't probably faced a defense like this all year though. In Michigan's defense, especially that the defensive line, where Washington's offensive line is going to have their work cut out for them. But a lot of skill position players that he can throw the ball to. And I just, for whatever reason, I'm probably going with I hate Michigan so much I'm not going to pick them. But give me Washington. Do you think Indiana's going to put up a banner claiming a national title because their former quarterback and former offensive coordinator will have won a title should Washington win?
No, I don't. I actually don't think they will. But I will say they can claim Michael Penix a lot more than they can Caleb DeBoer. DeBoer was there 1 year.
Yeah.
Penix was there multiple years, even though he kept getting injured. When he was healthy, there he was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it's amazing me how well Penix has done these past 2 years at Washington.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be there at 12 when the Broncos are picking, but I'm starting to talk myself into it if he is. The only reason I've been hesitant is he has been injury prone. But with that said, he hasn't got hurt the last 2 years at Washington. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it'll be interesting. He's kind of I don't even know who to compare him to. I know he's left-handed and all that, so you can make obvious comparisons to a current NFL quarterback. But I have a hard time envisioning him in the NFL for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's I almost just spoiled one of my bold predictions, but I'll save it for that part. But I will be rooting for Washington. Mm-hmm. However, I think Michigan wins. I think Michigan wins 27-20 tonight.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, it should be a good game. It's interesting that John Harbaugh will be in attendance to watch his brother Jim tonight. They do have a bye week this week in the playoffs, which we'll be talking about that here too. But with all the college football championship talk we've been doing, that is what my word association is related to tonight. All right, so let me pull up my list. I'm looking at the list of the college football playoff MVPs.
Okay.
Did you know there's offensive and defensive MVP? Because I did not.
I did not know that.
But I am just going to give you the offensive ones because looking at the defensive ones, honest to God, I've only heard of 2 of them. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot more. Okay, 3 of them now. I'm sure a lot more of them are in the pros, but the offensive ones are like the main dudes who are definitely still in the NFL. So we'll start back in 2015, which was the inaugural year of the college football playoff. Ezekiel Elliott, running back, Ohio State.
He looked like he was going to be an absolute superstar in the NFL, and then he just kind of fizzled out, got slow. A great, obviously, college football running back. We probably both had the opportunity to see him play live in college. I know I did. I don't know if you did with Purdue.
I think he was part of that Ohio State club that beat Darrell Hazel like 100-0. So, yeah, in 2013.
7 touchdowns for Zeke that day. That's a decent NFL career. Nothing special.
2016, O.J. Howard, tight end, Alabama.
Yeah, he first-round pick out of Alabama by Tampa Bay. I thought he was going to be a stud tight end. It just never really panned out. He had some decent years, especially when Tom Brady got there. But I don't know, is he still hanging around the league?
I don't think he is. If so, he's a second or third string tight end somewhere. So the defensive MVP that year was Eddie Jackson, safety from Alabama. The defensive MVP the year before us was Tyvis Powell, safety from Ohio State.
Couldn't tell you.
2017, Deshaun Watson, Clemson.
Is that the year he threw to Renfro, or was that the next year?
That was the year he threw to Renfro, yes.
Yeah. Obviously, good college quarterback, good with the Texans, and then, of course, the stuff came out about him, and now he's maybe going to be replaced by Joe Flacco next year. Who knows?
I think he'll be back being their starter. I don't think Flacco's on the Browns next year. It's been a great story, but I would be surprised. The defense MVP that year was Ben Boulware.
Ben Boulware?
Boulware, sorry. Boulware,
yep. He's hung around the NFL for a little while. Defensive lineman, I think.
2018 Tua for
Tua,
Alabama.
yeah, obviously that was the year he came in at halftime and took over for Hurts and then threw an absolute seed to Devontae Smith to win it.
In overtime against Georgia.
Yeah, I'll talk about him a little bit.
The defense MVP that year is Deron Payne, defense tackle for Alabama.
Good, pretty good defensive lineman for Washington. I think that's where it is.
2019 Trevor Lawrence, Clemson.
Yeah, great college quarterback. Yeah, I just think he's very overrated in the NFL, and he doesn't get the flack he probably deserves. I know he's dealt with injuries this year, but there was zero excuse to go into Tennessee and play as bad as he did yesterday.
Yeah, part of me wonders if he would have been better just to sit out yesterday, but then I don't think Jaguars had any chance.
No, they definitely.
So I think he had to try to gut it out. Next year's going to be a big year for him. I really
Huge.
think.
Yeah.
Because I'm not joining you in the category of that. I think he sucks just yet. But if he struggles next year, then maybe I will.
I don't think he sucks. I think he's incredibly overrated because he was a number 1 overall pick, and
that's fair.
He had that huge comeback in the playoffs last year that they shouldn't have probably even made last year. They were just a product of a bad division, and they couldn't win this year.
The reason he probably doesn't get the flack, J-Man, is you think he should. He plays for Jaguars.
Nobody cares about the Jaguars. That's probably fair.
Defense MVP that year was Trayvon Mullen, cornerback from Clemson.
Where's he at?
See, I've heard a lot of names, but I couldn't place him on any roster.
No, I'm sure he's playing, but
2020 Joe Burrow, LSU.
Oh man,
maybe the best season quarterback ever had.
That is maybe the most loaded offense that we've ever seen in college football. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. I think Chase sat out that year, didn't he?
Or was he did.
Yeah,
I think he did.
No, he sat out 2020.
Following year.
Yeah, sat out the following year because the following year was technically COVID year.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
So he sat out that year. So yeah, he had unbelievable numbers that year, along with Jefferson, along with a few other guys.
The defense MVP that year, Patrick Queen, linebacker.
Oh, really good linebacker. Yeah.
2021, Devontae Smith, wide receiver, Alabama.
Heisman, wide receiver, Heisman, having a good NFL career. He's not really talked about that much because he plays opposite A.J. Brown, who is a big name and also kind of a hothead a little bit. So he's made himself known for some of the stuff he does off the field. He's not a bad guy off the field, but he's just kind of more of a loud personality compared to Devontae.
The defense MVP that year is Christian Barrymore, defense tackle, Alabama.
Yeah.
And lastly, because this guy was the MVP 2022 and 2023, Stetson Bennett.
About 35 years old playing college football. Yeah, he was a product of having a really good team around. He was a good college quarterback, I'll give him that. But great team around him, and now he's had some off the field issues, and I think he's still on the restricted list, or he's like voluntary retired list, or something like that with the Rams.
Okay, all right. And the defensive MVPs for Georgia last 2 years, 2022 is Lewis Cine, C-I-N-E,
he's in the NFL somewhere.
Defensive back, and then Javon Ballard, defensive back as well. So, yep, a lot of good players, a lot of the same programs, pretty much. That's what's refreshing about this year's national championship to me is, Michigan hasn't won since '97, Washington hasn't won since '91, so
yeah,
get some new blood in there a little bit. It's crazy to think they're going to be called conference foes starting next year.
Yeah. Oh, the Big Ten will definitely claim Washington tonight.
Yes, they will. You're right. They will hang a banner in the Big Ten headquarters if they need to. So, but that was going to do it for the Word Association segment, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, Performer Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for the next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting in 2024, Performer Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815. All right, J-Man. Let's get into our bold predictions. Our
Let's do
second
it.
round of 8. So we're going bold predictions 9 through 16. This was hard. I can't
It's
imagine
tough.
how difficult next week's going to be.
I had this on here last year, but the NFL's got to hire full-time refs eventually. It seems like the refs are under an absolute microscope, and it's getting worse each and each week. That is my first bold prediction tonight. NFL hires full-time referees.
I hope that comes correct because, man, I could go on. I could do a whole podcast, I feel like, on NFL referees and college basketball referees this year because I think they keep getting worse and worse. So, my first bold prediction tonight, there will be 5 quarterbacks selected in the first round of this year's NFL draft.
Name them.
Well, you got Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., and I think Bo Nix goes in the first round. I think there's that many desperate teams that, I mean, you could wait and try to get maybe J.J. McCarthy because I don't think he'll be a first rounder unless he tests out really well. You could wait to get him a later round or some other guys. I know the kid from Tulane. A lot of people are high on him. Got the kid from Washington State. I can't think of their names right now.
Yeah.
Quinn Ewers could be first round if he comes out. I haven't heard if he's going to or not. So maybe there's more than 5, but I think I'm sticking with 5 first round.
We have not had a repeat World Series winner since the Yankees in 2000, and we once again will not have a repeat World Series winner. It's so tough to do in baseball more than any other. It's tough to do in any sport, but more than any other sport, baseball's, for whatever reason, really difficult. And Rangers should be really good again, but just don't think they win it.
Well, I am going baseball related with my next one as well. And I had this on my list last year, and it didn't come to fruition, but I think this year does. 2024 will be Aaron Boone's last season as the Yankees manager.
It's got to happen eventually.
I know I'm going to keep putting on there.
If they don't win this year, he definitely has to. I mean, they trade for Juan Soto. They're trying to get some other guys. So, yeah. Definitely. Bill Belichick finally hangs it up. I know there are rumors he could go to Washington or even L.A. Chargers. I don't know if both teams would probably have to trade for him. Could be back in New England too. But I just feel like with the way the season went that he finally hangs it up for good.
Well, I will move one of mine later on my list up to kind of piggyback off yours. My bold prediction is Mike Vrabel will be the New England Patriots head coach in 2024.
All right.
I think he would have to be traded, I believe, because he's under contract by the Titans. But there's a report that came out today that Vrabel would be interested if the opening came available in New England.
That is so rare to see an NFL head coach leave for another head coaching job on his own. Usually they get fired or whatever. So that might be a interesting one. Aaron Rodgers plays all 17 games next year, but the Jets still miss the playoffs.
I could see it. I could definitely see it. We thought the hype was there this year with the Jets with Rodgers, and then he tears his Achilles with 4 plays into the season. I don't know if we've seen what media coverage is going to be till next year's Jets squad.
It's going to be miserable
because it is literally the whole team is him. So,
yeah.
At least 2 of the 4 major winners in the major tournaments this year will be won by players from LIV. Last year, Brooks Koepka was the only one. I mean, in hindsight, John Rahm technically now, but 2 active LIV guys, or at least, 2 active LIV guys. Or I guess it doesn't have to be 2. I guess Brooks Koepka could win 2 of them, or John Rahm could win 2 of them, because all I stated was 2 of the 4 majors will be won by LIV players. So,
13 of 14 Big Ten basketball coaches will return. The one guy that won't, Juwan Howard.
Well, I got to move one of mine up again because I'm kind of right there with you. I put this season will be the last for at least 2 Big Ten basketball coaches. I think Juwan Howard's one of them. Others, I could see it. I could see Fran McCaffrey, possibly. I could possibly see Mike Woodson if things go south in Bloomington because I don't know. I think it would be too soon because he has got them back in state tournaments. But, man, after that loss to Nebraska, their fans were pretty vocal online.
They were, but then they bounced back and beat Ohio State at home. So,
right. I don't know.
That fan base, though, which I can't really say anything because the Illinois fan base is just as bad.
Every fan base has
it's
some.
every fan base is the exact same. Let's be honest. They're the exact same.
Except
All
I think my fan base might be the most paranoid. I don't even. I mean,
for good reason.
I mean, they're which I think a majority of the fan base is enjoying this season. Don't get me wrong, but there's some that just I don't think they can ever enjoy anything.
Yeah,
Ever.
waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So,
Which makes
and one other dark horse one, I don't think he will. I think he's got a few years left. I wish he would. I think he's got a few years left. Or maybe Izzo retires.
maybe he kind of went on a rant last
He
night.
sounded like
An old man.
it was funny because like he was like whining about how Northwestern could get away with being physical, but yet he loved it because he loved it the way Northwestern was playing. It's like, come on, man.
Ripped on analytics, and that's kind of taken over sports. And there's a reason why Michigan State hasn't been nearly as good the past couple of years because he hasn't embraced it. And the teams that have, like Matt Painter and Brad Underwood, really embrace analytics. Well, look at them; they've been the two best teams in the Big Ten the past 4 years. So
I really think the Izzo era has lost its steam in Michigan State. It just is what it is anymore, and they still get good recruits because I mean it's still a high level program, and it kind of in a way almost recruits itself.
Yeah.
Based on their historic success, but I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah. At the same time, they have a top 10 recruit on their team that's not even getting any minutes at all in Xavier Booker. So
yeah, and then they have a former 5-star Malik Hall that just disappears and does nothing at times. So,
Juwan Howard pulled a weird stunt yesterday and had Phil Martelli coach because he's from Philadelphia. That was strange.
It's one of the weirdest situations I've ever seen in college basketball. Is what's going up in Ann Arbor right now.
Up 10 at halftime, then give up 52 points in the second half and get blown out of the gym by a bad Penn State team.
Mm-hmm.
That Penn State team's terrible too.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill goes over 2,000 yards next season. I think if he would have stayed healthy and was able to play against the Cowboys, and if Waddle would have stayed healthy for the final 2 games, I think Tyreek gets there. But neither happened. So
I'm interested to see what he does in his revenge game at Arrowhead this weekend.
Yeah.
This is a really bold one, but yet I kind of put a lot of teams in it to give myself a chance. Either the Minnesota Timberwolves, Oklahoma City Thunder, Los Angeles Clippers, or Sacramento Kings will win the NBA championship.
There you go. I think
3 of those teams have never done it.
Right?
They are the 1 seed right now. And the Thunder to 3, and the Clippers are the 4. And the Kings are right there. The Kings might be 4, Clippers 5. They're all right there. The Kings have technically won a championship in 1951, but they were the Royals at the time. So since they've been the Kings, they haven't. But those other 3 teams I named, they're 3 of the remaining teams in the NBA that have never won. The Timberwolves have never been to the finals. Yeah. So neither have the Clippers. So
I hinted at this earlier and spoiled it earlier, but I think Washington upsets Michigan and beats or wins the national title tonight.
I think Nikola Jokic will win his 3rd MVP in the last 4 seasons.
His buzzer beater the other night against Golden State. That's funny.
It's 2 years in a row he's hit a buzzer beater against them.
It's the wildest thing watching that guy, just looking at him beat you every single night. It's incredible.
He's arguably the best basketball player in the world, and he just looks like he shouldn't be a basketball player, even though he's huge. But
my final one here, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift get engaged, and the world spontaneously combusts. And we live.
I thought you were gonna say they break up.
Well, I think that one's a pretty obvious one. That's why these are called bold predictions there, Tanner.
You might go out a little bolder than I do because you got one right last year.
I should go safer bets this year than I did last year, but clearly not.
Well, we're expanding the college football playoff next year to 12 teams, right? Mm-hmm. The Big Ten will have 3 of those 12.
Who's the third?
Well, I looked up how it works, and they might have to change it since the Pac-12 folded. But the top, so the conference champions all get in.
Mm-hmm.
They're the top ranked conference champions. So then it said there were 6 of them. Then you take your top rated 6 remaining teams. So, in goodness, it could be
6 of them.
Yeah, it said 6 of them on the NCAA website.
Big 12, SEC, Big 10.
But this was made in
Pac-12. Is it still a thing?
yeah. It's not, but I mean that's why I said it's got to be rewritten on that website because I don't know. I'll have to do more research. But Big Ten gets 3 of 12 teams, 3 of the 12 teams.
All right. I like it.
And because I mean, look at the 18 teams division, these 18 team conference. I mean, you're already loaded with Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Then throw in Washington, Oregon, USC. I'm not throwing UCLA in there.
Yeah.
I like their chances.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good list. I'm dreading next week's because I'm about tapped already.
I know and every year it's like, oh, we're only adding one more. How much more difficult can it be? Well, it's
pretty difficult.
Pretty difficult.
Pretty difficult. Yeah. So, do you want to get educated here real quick?
Yes, sir.
On this day in 1913, Chicago Cubs legend Frank Chance became manager of the New York Yankees.
He took a chance becoming the Yankees manager.
On this day in 1955, Georgia Tech ended Kentucky's 130-game home basketball win streak.
130 in a row.
On this day in 1962, 21-year-old future Hall of Fame golfer Jack Nicklaus made his professional debut.
He didn't do too bad for himself.
He tied for 50th in the LA Open. On this day in 1972, the NCAA announced freshmen can play on teams starting in the fall. They used to not be able to.
Yeah, that's interesting to know it was that year. I couldn't have told you what year, but it's hard to imagine a world where freshmen couldn't be eligible.
Yeah. On this day in 1984, the NCAA announced that the basketball tournament will have 64 teams. Please keep it at 68. No more expansion.
Please. We don't need 90-some.
On this day in a lot of AFC, NFC championship games.
If you get in the 2000s or maybe even the late 90s, I might be able to get some of those.
On this day in 1996, for the first time in 25 years, no one is elected into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
That was right after that was 2 years after the strike. Never mind.
Yeah. On this day in 2000, the Music City Miracle happened. Frank Wycheck just passed away a few weeks ago.
Yes, he did.
He was the guy that threw it.
Beat the Bills.
On this day in 2007, who won the 9th BCS championship?
That was Florida over Ohio State.
You are correct.
Ted Ginn took off back the opening kickoff, and then they got smacked.
Got hurt. And he got hurt on the opening kickoff, even though he took it back, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he pulled something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Or did he tear something? I don't know.
In 2009, who won the BCS national championship?
That was also Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They beat. God, who did they beat? Oklahoma.
Dang, you're pretty good at that. I would have had no shot. On this day in 2012, what happened, Tanner?
On this day in 2012, I'm not talking about it.
No. You should be happy about this.
You said 13. It was the Tim Tebow game against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
It was Tim Tebow's last NFL passing touchdown.
Yep. Tim Tebow.
I thought you said 2013. I'm like, I'm not talking about it.
Tim Tebow's 5-second loop-de-doop release somehow threw an 80-yard touchdown pass.
Well, Demaryius Thomas caught the ball where Clark should have been, who couldn't play because of sickle cell, and just took it to the house.
On this day in 2018, who won the college football national championship? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I did. 2018. I'm trying to think in my head. Well, Clemson was 17 and 19.
You literally just had this on your.
I know. That's what I'm trying to think. Alabama beat somebody. Alabama beat Georgia.
Yep, it was the Tua game.
Yeah, one of the greatest ones. Yeah.
So that's going to do it for On This Day this week.
I finally held my own in some of those. That is the Honest Day segment, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting them at Mooney Woodcrafts on Instagram and on Facebook. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man show sent you, you get 15% off your order. And I should have had this loaded into the software, so I'm going to try to share it on my camera with my phone because Thad sent me his latest project he got done. And it's pretty cool looking. Hopefully everybody can see this.
That's cool.
It's a skull sign for a Minnesota Viking fan.
That is awesome.
Yes, I told him good work. Very, very well done. And here's what it looked like before it was finished.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he does really good work. So if you're looking for a wooden sign of any kind, give Thad a holler. Won't be disappointed.
The NFL season is over.
Yes, sir.
Do you have your preseason predictions anywhere accessible?
I can find them. Give me a second.
Because I just had mine pulled up here. And looking at it, I did okay.
I can find the playoffs. I don't think I can find every team.
I did okay. So I'll go. Okay. AFC West had the Chiefs going 15-2. They weren't that good. Went 11-6 or whatever. Had the Chargers finishing 11-6. I was way off there. Denver 9-8. Finishing
right on.
Right
oh
there.
No, you're right below. Yeah, should have been 9-8.
Pretty much right there. And then the Vegas Raiders 4th, 7-10. AFC North, I was way off. I had the Cincinnati Bengals going 14-3. They weren't that good even with Burrow, but I think they would have been. They obviously would have still been there in the playoffs had Burrow stayed healthy. Baltimore 13-4, so I got that right on the money. I just didn't have them winning the AFC North. Pittsburgh 10-7 had that right on the money, but I didn't have them make the playoffs. Way off on the Browns. I think we were both probably way off on the Browns. Had them at 6-11. AFC East had the Bills 12-5. They went 11-6. Dolphins 10-7. They went 11-6. So pretty close. Jets 10-7. Of course, Rodgers injury. Patriots 5-12. They went 4-13. I feel pretty good about that one. AFC South, Jacksonville 10-7. I had Houston 3-14. And Houston ends up winning the division. Had the Colts 4-13, and they were right there. NFC East, Philadelphia 13-4. Dallas 12-5. Pretty close on both. Giants 8-9 off there. Washington 5-12. Niners 11-6. Seattle 9-8. Rams 8-9. Fairly close there. Obviously, Rams got in. Seattle did. I had Arizona 1-16. NFC North had Minnesota 9-8. Green Bay 8-9. Both making the playoffs though. No, Detroit 8-9. I did have Detroit in the playoffs. Didn't have them being that good. And then I had New Orleans winning the South at 9-8. Tampa Bay 8-9, which is pretty much where they ended up, but Tampa Bay and New Orleans was flipped. But then I had Cincinnati over Philadelphia in my Super Bowl, so that's not going to happen.
I got my playoffs. I couldn't find. Give me a heads up next time. I'll be able to find.
Yeah, I literally just pulled it up 2 minutes before the show and I forgot to tell you.
But my playoffs in the AFC and the one seed I had Kansas City at 12 or 15-2, like you did. They made the playoffs, but didn't have that. Embarrassingly, I had the Jaguars going 14-3 and winning the AFC. That's not happening. I had the Cincinnati Bengals going 13-4. That didn't happen. Had the Bills going 12-5. It's pretty close there. Had the Ravens going 12-5. Had the Steelers going 12-5. They made the playoffs going 12-5. Had the Dolphins going 11-6.
Nailed it.
NFC, I had the San Francisco, who was my Super Bowl champ, at 14-3. I had Philadelphia at 13-4. I had Detroit at 9-8 winning the North, and the Saints at 9-8 winning the South. I also had Dallas in the playoffs at 12-5, and I had the Bears and Falcons both making it 9-8. I had the NFC awful. It wasn't very good.
It was pretty bad. It got better as the year went around because the Rams kind of turned it on, and same with Packers too. They kind of turned it on. But.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
But for Week 18, who were 3 of your winners, 3 of your losers?
First winner, Houston Texans, going on the road to a hostile environment in Indianapolis and coming out there with a win. Very fortunate win because Tyler Goodson, was that his name for the Colts? Dropped a wide open. It was not a good throw by Minshew, but Goodson probably needs to catch that ball.
I didn't mind the play call. I'll probably get flack for that, but I didn't mind it because all they were doing is run, run, run. I'm like, they gotta pass it eventually.
You probably need to have Taylor in there. However, I kind of get not having him in there because, I mean, they wouldn't know who their ball's going to, or you probably pretty sure it's going to Taylor. Plus, Goodson was wide open. Play call wasn't bad at all. He's just got to catch the ball.
Yep. Wasn't the best throw. Could have been thrown better, but he's got to make that catch in the day. I couldn't believe in my head, I'm like, Colts going to make the playoffs because Houston missed the extra point.
Yeah.
Yep. One of my winners, Buffalo Bills.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, they already knew they were in the playoffs going into yesterday, thanks to the Titans beating the Jaguars. But to win in an environment which the Dolphins have been really good at down at home in Miami this year, this was a team that a lot of people wrote off as dead when they lost to the Denver Broncos. If not then, it was about a week or two later they wrote them off as dead. They got hot at the end of the year, and I would not want to play them in the playoffs.
Absolutely not. Pittsburgh Steelers going into Baltimore. Torrential downpour the entire game coming out.
It's always raining there anymore.
I know Baltimore wasn't playing their starters at all, but Steelers still needed to go in there and get it done, and they did. And they got some help yesterday with Tennessee beating Jacksonville.
Yes.
No, they didn't get help. All the Steelers needed to do, I think, was win. I don't know.
No, I don't know. I still think they got some help.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
don't know. Who was my other? My second winner is Green Bay Packers, defeating the Chicago Bears yet again. But another team that a lot of people wrote off as dead halfway through the year, and they got hot late in season. Jordan Love proved he is their guy going forward. We both said he wasn't at one point this year. That's why we have a weekly podcast we do every week. We're so smart. And the Packers, man, they're kind of like the Steelers. They just find that franchise find ways to win.
Yeah. My final winner here is the LA Rams. Of course, Niners weren't playing anyone either, but Rams still went in there and won, and now a little bit of a revenge game going in there to Detroit for the LA Rams and Matt Stafford. And I think that is the game that I'm probably looking forward to, maybe even the most this weekend. So
it's intriguing storylines for sure. My last winner, who do I want to pick here? You know, even though no, I know. I'm going to pick Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, third straight NFC South championship, first time they've done that in franchise history. Pretty good season for Baker Mayfield. I think he's their guy going forward. I'd be surprised if he's not. I think Todd Bowles is a pretty good coach.
He's pretty solid.
I start with the losers. My first loser, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Absolutely.
They were my AFC champs. And, I mean, ever since that they mocked the terrible towel, their season went down the drain, and they just choked and stumbled all over themselves. And, I thought the roster was too good to do that, but I was mistaken.
I never bought into the roster, as you know. But still, winnable division. I mean, we made fun of that division. This is going to be the worst division of football, and then they ended up having 3 teams over 500. So it ended up being a pretty good division. They were all 3 pretty mediocre, but they were over 500.
The state of Florida should have been fully represented in the playoffs.
Should have. Yeah, Jacksonville screwed it up. But, the Jags were on my list as well. Dolphins are a loser just by default because not winning the division when they had a 14-7 lead. Honestly, they got dominated last night. It reminded me of the game in Miami against the Bills last year where Bills outgained them by 200 yards, but they kept forcing turnovers, and they ended up winning by 1. That's kind of how it felt in the first half. Allen turned it over twice. They turned it over again in the second half. And the injury bug, I'm not making excuses for why the Dolphins did not win the division, because if they beat Tennessee, they win the division, but they choked a 14-point lead with 3 minutes away. Or if Kadarius Toney doesn't line up offsides, Dolphins win the division. But they are just ravaged by injuries. Of course, your 2 best pass rushers are out. Your third best pass rusher, Andrew Van Ginkel, got hurt last night. He's not going to play on Saturday. Depth guy Cameron Good blew out his knee on that punt return, and the reason why the 97-yard punt return touchdown happened is because he blew out his knee right where he was going to be. So he's hurt. They had to pull Melvin Ingram in off the street 3 weeks ago, and he played the most snaps he's played since week 3 of 2022. Emmanuel Ogba's going to have to be a guy there now. It's getting to the point where they might have to call up like Frank Clark, who Denver cut week 6 or whatever.
And Seattle cut this year too.
Yeah, and see what he's doing, or Justin Houston, just to have some sort of body out there. So they're ravaged by injuries. Still, zero excuse. Tua lights up the bad teams. Can't beat the good teams. It's been the theme of his entire career. Had a chance to go down there.
I thought they were going to score for sure.
Make some magic happen. Tua throws a bad pick. I was mad at Tua at first. Then you watch the Chase Claypool route, and it was the worst route I think I've ever seen, which is why Bears fans hated him so much, because they're like, Fields isn't that bad. These guys can't run routes at all. After watching Claypool run that route, I now know what they're talking about. But he folds when the lights shine the brightest, which is so weird because he played in so many big games in college. Yeah. But the NFL, he just can't get it done, and it's gonna be an interesting offseason because it's contract year, and they're gonna have to sign him to an extension because it's so tough to find even good quarterbacks in the NFL these days, let alone great quarterbacks. And Tua's a good quarterback, but he's not going to be that game-changing guy. So I don't know how comfortable they're going to be giving him $150 million like he's probably going to want.
Yeah,
it's to the point where you kind of have to do it, though.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, it's like the Bears. If they make a choice to keep Justin Fields, they're going to have to pretty much give him an extension.
Yeah.
To show they're all bought in. So. Yeah. And it's unfortunate for the Dolphins, all the injuries. That's like every professional team, college team, anybody who wins a championship. It's not only do you have to be talented enough, you have to get lucky too in the injury category. It's part of it.
Yeah, so. Which it happens to every team. It just seems like every single week it's like, well, he's out. Well, he's out. The worst part about losing, obviously, they would have hosted the Buffalo Bills, which would have been the worst anyway, and they wouldn't have beat them two straight weeks, let's be honest. But they go from playing in 70-degree weather to now going to Kansas City where the wind chill is supposed to be 8 below zero on Saturday night, and Tua cannot play in weather below 50 degrees. So that's going to be a real interesting one.
Yep. Yes, I will.
I wouldn't even say interesting. I'm not looking forward to it at all.
I'm not either because I'm going to be rooting for the Dolphins. I want the Chiefs out because I don't even want the possibility of them going back to back in there. But because I just know as long as you have number 15 by center, you got a chance.
I know. So,
and they got a good defense. So.
And it's on Peacock only. Roger Goodell knew what he was doing with the Swifties because they'll subscribe and they'll be eyeballs on Peacock.
Comcast is loving this year with the Big Ten games that they've put on there on purpose, and their subscriptions counts way up. My next loser, I'm actually go with my Denver Broncos. They didn't have too much to play for yesterday. There was no playoffs on the line, but you're playing against your most hated rival and a chance to have your first winning record in a season since 2016, and they just looked terrible yesterday. The score was actually closer in the game. Reflected their defensive backs were off. They honestly looked like they quit part of the game. 8-9. There was improvements from last year, but whoop-de-doo. Still haven't made last time you made the playoffs, you won the Super Bowl 50. And it's going to be an interesting offseason. It seems like it always is for the Broncos, but it's going to be a very interesting offseason because they're going to have to make a big-time decision at quarterback. And with that big-time decision, they're going to have little money to do anything else.
Yeah.
So,
that's the worst part about the Dolphins, too. They are $40 million above the cap, which is second worst in the NFL. So I don't know what they're going to do. So
they lost the Raiders for the 8th straight time. They haven't beat the Raiders since December of 2019. They haven't beat them since they became Vegas Raiders. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. My second loser, the Atlanta Falcons. Arthur Smith, 7-10, picked 8th in the draft his first year. 7-10, picked 8th in the draft his second year. 7-10 are now picking 8th in the draft this year. The epitome of mediocrity. He took a very talented offense, sans the quarterback spot, and turned them into blech. And now he's yelling at Dennis Allen because Jameis Winston went rogue Classic Jameis.
Yeah.
Absolutely classic Jameis. I wish somebody would give him a starting job again because he is maybe the funniest guy in the
Don't
NFL.
put that out there, Josh, because you got to remember who my head coach is.
Oh, that's right. Classic Jameis going against his coach's wishes to hand the ball to Jamal Williams there. And Arthur Smith gets canned today. So maybe the Falcons are the winners, actually. But
Do you think Dennis Allen will get canned?
I don't know.
I just don't. And I like the guy as a defense coordinator. I just don't think he's cut out to be a head coach.
I think we're all winners that we don't have to watch Derek Carr in the playoffs. He's the least aesthetically pleasing quarterback in the NFL, and I think it's terrible. But
yeah, I've kind of come around to join you there this year.
Yeah, Dennis Allen, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. My last loser. I'm just gonna put the Carolina Panthers out there. I didn't think they'd beat the Buccaneers, but they're so bad. They're such a bad franchise right now. They have fallen so far in the last 5 years. They got a lot of work to do to even become competitive.
Yeah. My last loser, Ron Rivera. His career as a head coach likely comes to an end unless somebody gives him a chance. But I've said this on the podcast a few times. He is this era's Jeff Fisher. Decent head coach, had one great year, lost the Super Bowl, been mediocre ever since, and they still hold him to a high regard because of that great year he had with an MVP quarterback.
Yep, I agree. Those are good ones. Let's do some playoff predictions, shall we? I do not have the schedule in front of me. I was not prepared.
I don't either, but I have it close to being pulled up here.
All right.
Saturday, I know we have the Cleveland Browns at the Houston Texans.
This is a tough one to predict. It really is. The Browns have been playing great football. They got shellacked yesterday, but I was happy for my guy David Bell to caught 2 touchdowns. The rest of their starters, I'm going with the home team, though. I'm going with the Texans this one.
Yeah, give me the Texans. I think the Cleveland Browns are a little bit too banged up there. Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'll be rooting hard for the Dolphins, but unfortunately, I think the Chiefs get it done at home.
This will be the J-Man's book of prediction of the week. Something tells me the Dolphins are going in there and winning.
I hope you're right.
I don't know why that is. They'll get Waddle and Mostert back. Defense is still torn up. Xavier Howard's probably not going to play. Jerome Baker blew out his knee against the Guardians. Good Lord. Against the Commanders. Came back last night and hurt his wrist and had to have surgery today. So he's out for the year. Van Ginkel's probably out. I don't know. I just don't believe in this Chiefs team. It's going to be hard to do it there, but give me the Dolphins.
One thing I do like for the Dolphins, Vic Fangio. He knows the Chiefs very, very well.
He does. J-Man's Book of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers, comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 819-682. I don't even remember. 219-869-4561. Travis. Moving on. That was bad. I usually had it down pat. I haven't looked at the read in years now. And for some reason, I can't get it through.
Travis watching at infb.com.
Get some insurance. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills.
Bills are going to kill them.
Bills are going to kill them. Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Give me the Cowboys as well.
How fitting would it be, though, for the Packers to upset them and McCarthy gets fired?
That would be pretty fitting.
The whole state of Wisconsin would love that.
Yeah, I don't think the Packers do it, but at the same time, I don't put anything past the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs at this point. Maybe the game of the weekend, LA Rams at the Detroit Lions.
Lions they won more games this regular season since before you and I were born. Yeah. Our wives were born, but we weren't. And
they're significantly older than us.
Yes. Getting those ARP cards. I'm gonna get killed later. But
happy birthday to my wife, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna give her a shout at the end, but I thought maybe I'll let her husband try to get the shout out first. So, but Stafford, the guy who Lion legend coming in, and I'm pulling for the Rams, and I think the Rams get it done.
I completely agree with you. I am picking the Rams in this one. Something about the Lions, I just feel like they're going to choke so hard. Yep. Cheapest ticket there's $414. Ooh. That's expensive.
Can you imagine though, Josh, if the Lions and Browns make the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean, I don't know. World's come to an end. That happens.
Yeah. Yeah. The Monday night playoff game. Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Here's my upset: the Buccaneers beat the Eagles.
I'm with you there as well. The Eagles have some issues. Sounds like they have some locker room issues as well. They are in an absolute free fall, and Nick Sirianni can't get them turned around. Give me Tampa Bay.
Yep, that place will be rocking.
Absolutely will.
That Mooney on Facebook says, living in Texas with obnoxious Cowboys fans everywhere. Go Pack, go.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I bet it's brutal. I bet it would have been brutal if Texas would have beat Washington last week too.
He said Lions Browns Super Bowl in the world before the Kelsey Swift wedding. All right, Jay, man. Well, let's talk some college hoops.
Then hoops
as we wrap up this pod. It's Big Ten race, still very early, but getting interesting a little bit. Up and down week for your Illini last week. They just
that was a pretty good week for my Illini. Let's be honest.
Well, up and down as far as win and loss category. That's what I was trying to say. But they absolutely shellac Northwestern by 30. I didn't see that coming. Yeah. Didn't see that coming. And then they went into a hostile environment, Mackey Arena Friday nights, and they could have laid down and got killed, especially down 21. They fought back and made it a one-possession game. And, I mean, I could make a comment about the referee's call, but that's all right. I will not. But Purdue found a way to hold on. But I was getting a little nervous there.
Yeah, it was almost a carbon copy of last year's game. If you remember, Illinois got down. I think Purdue was up 20 in the second half.
Josh, I have to get to this comment real quick. I think you'll like this one.
Uh-huh. Oh, boy. Oh, Billy.
It says, for everybody listening, long-time listener, first-time texter, have I missed a conversation on how great the Buffalo Bills are?
Man.
You can't say what you want to say. Let's be honest, because of FCC regulations.
I will see him on Saturday, and
he's got it made. His Niners are chilling for the week.
Yeah. So funny Billy story. I'm going to throw him under the bus real quick. So we're in the hospital because my wife's in labor, and I go out to the waiting room and we're watching football so her aunt can go back. And Billy goes out to the this is my wife's uncle, by the way. I should say that first. He goes out to the lobby area of the waiting room, and he starts pacing back and forth. And the lady goes, "Oh, first time grandpa jitters, huh?" or something like that. And he goes, "Yep." And he comes back in and tells us, and he's like, "I didn't want to tell her I was nervous about the Niners-Eagles game because it was getting a little close." But, so that's I'll talk some trash to Billy this week.
All right, fair. So. Baseball season's around the corner, but I don't know if that's anything exciting for either of you this year. So
no. What were we talking about?
We were right in the middle of Purdue, Illinois. Sorry.
Purdue. Yeah, and then Illinois storms back, takes the lead after being down 20 last year, and then of course this year they didn't take the lead.
Oh, I was going to say they didn't get the lead. I thought you were
talking about I was saying it was a carbon copy almost of last year's game.
Yep.
But Domask had a pretty good game. Edey was dominant when he was in there, but he had some foul issues. Got absolutely killed by Trey Kaufman-Wren. Probably best game of his career.
Yeah. It's finally he showed the potential that we Purdue fans knew he had. Finally,
Braden Smith, top 2 or 3 point guard in college basketball. Probably second best point guard. I've seen Tyler Kolak killed Illinois earlier in the year, and then of course Braden Smith did as well. But other than that, it was a pretty good game. Really. So no complaints on my end, honestly.
Yeah, it'll be a battle again in March. I'm not looking forward to that one. And Illinois could look like a different team, depending if Terrence Shannon Jr. gets to come back or not.
Yeah.
Don't know the latest on that situation. But I was happy. I saw a lot of Purdue fans complaining about the win. I'm like, you still beat a top 10 team.
Yeah, I think
complain about.
I think Illinois is pretty dang good even without Shannon.
Yeah, they are good. They're a good team. But it was a fun matchup. It was a fun environment, even without students. Mackey was rocking. So I feel pretty good about it. And now Purdue travels to Nebraska tomorrow night, which Nebraska is a tough place to play. Purdue's actually out there now because of the snowstorm that Nebraska is getting. They got out there pretty early. That game's at 9:00 on Peacock. Purdue plays on Peacock, including last Tuesday, 4 Tuesdays in a row on Peacock. Yeah, because
I will say the Peacock visual is fantastic.
Oh yeah, they do a good job with the presentation.
Great. Yeah,
it's just a lot of people complain about it. And here's what I said to one of our friends today: every sports fan might as well just get Peacock because there's only going to be more and more sporting events in the future beyond that. Too. Just get it. It's got some good programming, some good movies too. So
yeah,
but other than Purdue and Illinois, Big Ten's been kind of crazy. I mean, you saw Indiana get smacked and Nebraska would come back and beat Ohio State at home. Michigan State, like we said, got beat by Northwestern yesterday. Michigan looks just terrible. Wisconsin's winning the league right now. Rutgers looks terrible.
Wisconsin's legitimately pretty good.
Yeah, I think they're good too. Minnesota's been a surprise so far, but we'll see. Long ways to go. I just don't know. If I had to say how many teams I think get in the tournament from the Big Ten right now, I still don't think it'd be a high number.
Yeah, 5 or 6, I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But a big one here for Indiana tomorrow night. Indiana at a bad Rutgers team, but Jersey Mike's, man, it gets you.
It does, but I think IU wins. I see nothing as Rutgers team right now.
Rutgers really struggles offensively. I think Indiana struggles offensively. First one to 60 wins this one. I think Rutgers gets it done. Until Indiana can win. I know they won in Michigan, but consistently win on the road. Give me Rutgers. Purdue at Nebraska.
I think Purdue gets it done, but I think it's a tight one. Purdue's been bitten out there a few times in their past, so they know they can't go in there and take it lightly.
After watching Purdue on Friday night, I will be surprised if they don't run the table in the Big Ten, honestly.
Stop.
Give me Purdue. Northwestern at Penn State. Big win for Northwestern last night.
Yeah, it was. Just when I thought they would come back down there, that's a great way to respond after getting shellacked by 30 points. Give me Northwestern. I don't like this Penn State team.
Yeah, give me Northwestern as well. Wisconsin, number 15, Wisconsin at Ohio State.
I'm actually going to take the Buckeyes in the upset.
Give me Wisconsin. I think this is Greg Gard's best team he's had in a few years. Thursday night, we have, if it loads for me, Michigan at Maryland.
Maryland.
Yeah, give me Maryland as well at home. And
They're
then we have Michigan State at Illinois.
I know you don't like playing Michigan State when Michigan State's coming off a loss. I expect this to be a really good physical game. I think Illinois gets it done.
I feel like Michigan State's going to win it. I have this terrible sinking feeling about it. So give me Michigan State. There's something about it.
I know what you're doing.
Underwood's kind of had Izzo's number. Underwood's kind of had Izzo's number over the past couple years, and for whatever reason, Tyson Walker really scares me. Friday night, for some reason my computer's not loading real quick, so I'm going to bring it up on my phone. We have Minnesota at Indiana.
Indiana gets it done at home. I think Indiana has a good week this week.
Give me Indiana as well, and then we have Nebraska at Iowa.
I'm going to take Iowa. I don't know why, but I'm going to take Iowa.
Yeah, give me Iowa. Northwestern at Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Give me Wisconsin. Penn State, Purdue.
Purdue.
Give me Purdue. Maryland at Illinois.
Illinois.
Give me Illinois in that one. Rutgers at Michigan State.
I will take Michigan State in that one.
I will take Michigan State as well. I'll hit you with the birdie bogey here. See if you can take a commanding 2-stroke lead on me. Jordan Love finished the season with 4,159 pass yards and 32 pass touchdowns. There are only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history to exceed those totals in their first season as a full-time starter. Can you name those 2 quarterbacks?
What was the yardage again?
4,159 pass yards, 32 pass touchdowns. Got to get both to get anything.
First year as a full-time starter?
Yep.
I have no clue. None. I'm going to throw out a guess. I don't think this is right, but he had a good year as a backup, won a Super Bowl. Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner is one of them. Good one.
All right. Darn, I wish I would have been a par. I know this isn't right, but it's the only guy that's coming to my head. Kirk Cousins.
Oh man, I thought for sure. I thought you'd get this guy and miss Kurt Warner. Pat Mahomes.
Oh my god! Oh my wow! I'm embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
I just didn't even come to my head. That didn't even. Oh, it makes me get a reason to hate him even more.
Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. We'll be back at her next Monday with another episode. Stay safe, stay warm. Have a great week, everybody.